Why is it important that we go on holiday?
Mainly because you get away from the housework. Now, do you think we should carry on keep going to India? Because that doesn't really broaden your horizons.
Our history, our culture is in our mother's land. Hi, welcome to Changing Suits. My name's Bal.
And my name's Taj. It's a lot of head
I
turning.
know, that's why I carried on.
To music.
This is the first podcast we've recorded together in a long, long time, Taj.
It has been quite a while. I mean, you did go off swanning off on holiday, so.
And that brings me nicely onto the subject of this podcast.
Oh yeah, that's what we're going to talk about, isn't it?
Was that by accident?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So the topic for today's podcast is, why is it important that we go on holiday? And I'm going to go even more with certain parts of it. Why is it important that we go back to India, Pakistan, or any of the other areas? Your homeland. That's what I want to call it, homeland. Okay, so Taj, why is it important that we go on holiday?
First of all, I would have said it's not that important. That's what I would have said previously, but times have changed. And I would have said it's not important because you save money and then invest it into a house, blah, 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 blah. But now I've realized...
All of Dad's lines, basically.
Yeah.
You just stole his lines. Yeah.
So basically, our parents have made us think in their way, but things have changed.
Things have changed. We got married. They made a mistake getting us married.
Even they have changed the way that they think as well, because holidays are important, mainly because you get away from the housework.
Yes. Although, can I just say, when we just came back from holiday and the house was clean, me and Suk were like, oh, so glad the house is clean. It does make a difference.
Again, you don't need to stay in the house. It stays clean if you don't.
Fair point. If no one lives here.
That underlines the point of why
Very good.
on holiday.
Yep.
The second thing is it's just good to get away, and you're not constantly thinking, oh my God, I've got to do this. Oh my God, I've got to do that. And I realize this. I didn't go away away abroad, but I went to my mum and dad's, and I was just sitting there and I was playing a board game. It was with the kids and my sister-in-law, and I said to her, oh my God, I feel really good. She might have thought I was a bit of a nutter, but I just felt like I was free.
Because you weren't at home.
Yes.
Normal routine stuff.
Yeah, because I didn't have to think about what I had to eat because my mum was going to do that. I didn't have to think about who was going to clean.
I know what to do that. I know what you're talking about because I just came from mum and dad's this weekend, and it's exactly the same. And our sister-in-law, she was in the kitchen. You lot, everyone, our listeners would be like, "You're so horrible." So I was sitting there at the table. And I can't go to her because she was making something. She's making golgappe. That's what she was making, golgappe. And she goes, I go, oh look, if you need help, let me know.
As well.
No, I did say I will get up. We had a really serious conversation, so I think she felt comfortable to say if she needed help. No, she did, because she needed something from the shed, and I was like, all right, I'll go get it. And then I said to her, I go, you know, when you go back to your parents, do you basically just sit there like I was sitting there? And she goes, no, me and Dad, cook food because they enjoy cooking different types of food. I was like, oh, that's good, because me and my dad just like sitting here on our phone. And then I text Dad because he was watching something on YouTube. Hello, Dad. And then he looked up and he went, it's true. That's a true story, everybody. Okay, anyway, bring it back in. The reason I went to mum and dad's is because I went on holiday, so I thought,
have another holiday.
Another holiday. Mum was missing. I was like, all right, let me go home. Let me go see her. So anyway, I did go to India. It's the first time I've been. I think it's been about 11, 12 years since I've been to India. And this is the first time we took, I went as a married couple, obviously, with me and Suk, because I won't go with them as a married couple.
Random someone.
Yeah, so I didn't go with someone around. And I took the kids. And me and Suk were, before we went, we were like, okay, it's exciting that we're going. But, this is the first time we've had to think about anyone apart from ourselves.
Like these selfish people.
When you're going India, because we all know if you go to India, it's an experience, and don't drink water, don't all this sort of stuff, and
don't drink water, just dehydrate.
No, bottled water. Everyone that's listening to this knows what I mean in regards to you don't drink the water in India. well, actually, on that, but we'll talk about that later, actually. Um, but anyway, going to India was really good. Like, the kids loved it. It was really, so I think they'd be looking to the point where my daughter did actually start crying on the way home because she goes, "I don't want to go home. I want to stay
Why
here."
do you think it's important for us to go back to our homeland?
Do you know what? Even before, and it hasn't changed, when I go to India, one thing that I enjoy, and I know not everyone enjoys this, I get it, but I still do enjoy it. A lot of dad's side of the family is in India, and like well, not a lot of it, some of it
I
now,
would say less and less, yeah.
less and less. But I really like going to see family. I don't like that here, like just seeing people, but I do
Oh,
like.
our family listens, by the way, so
Well, no, I do like seeing family, obviously. But no, it was just nice seeing them. And one thing I said to mum when I went around the other day, I was like, since getting married, I don't know if anyone else feels this. It was different. When I was seeing, because it was mainly my boys that were there, and two
so
of them
your
came to
dad's
see
sisters, yeah.
dad's sisters. They came to see me, and I was like, before we got married, it was like, okay, yeah, we'd go and see him. Yeah, it was nice. But this time, after marriage, it was just different in the sense that I was so happy they were there. Like, I don't know if it's that, I don't get it though. I was just so happy they were there, and I felt closer to them as well. Like, I had a good conversation with them, and even like our boy. So we went back home, and she goes, "Oh, Leash, come here. I need you to check something." Like, she goes, "Oh, what do I give when you're about to go?" And it sort of upset me slightly because what happened was, a few years ago when we went, we'd ask them for their opinion and what they thought about things. Whereas now they were asking, and my preferred, they were asking my opinion. And I'm like, when did things change where what I thought mattered?
Well,
And it's
their
just like,
first mistake was asking you.
yes, that, well,
Like, 'cause you know nothing about suits.
yeah, but aside from that, it was more the sentimental thing, Taj. Like, I was going for the sentimental. I was a bit upset because it was just like everyone's like growing
Getting
old.
older. Mm.
Yeah. And you don't know like who's going to be in India when you're next there and who's not going to be in India when you're next there. And I know that's the same thing here, but you get more chance to see people. But I did slightly cry when I left. I was like,
Oh my god.
yeah, and I wasn't expecting it. I got really emotional.
But
Everyone's
do you
growing.
but do you think it's not necessary that you have to go back to your homeland or mother's land or whatever you would call it?
Mother's land. It's called
Motherland?
Motherland.
Mother's
Mother's land. Oh my god, that was a really loud laugh. Even the listeners are going to be like, bloody hell. Yeah, yeah.
Because when I went to France, I really loved the feeling there, and they were my husband's side, so his side of the family, and I
So
just
that's shocking then. 'Cause-
no, but I just loved the fact that they were all getting together, and it was the whole getting together and just being together, and that just felt good.
yeah,
We just don't do that enough here. We
100%.
don't have enough time.
But I have to say, okay, so I was going to say this story earlier. So going back to the whole water scenario, there was one day where I had a parota, right? And some tea, and it did not suit me. And so I was throwing up, like I was throwing up, and then I laid down, and then I got up again. I was throwing up again, and then we had to do a 3-hour journey home, like to where my
Oh god,
husband's
so it
house is.
happened around someone else's house.
No, that was because we were staying in a hotel in Amritsar at that point, right? So we're in a hotel, and I was like, okay, but we had a 3-hour journey home. So I got to the car park in Amritsar. I puked in the corner of the car park. So anyway, I had the 3-hour journey home. Got up in the middle of the car journey. I was like, "Sook, I need to go to the toilet,"
Oh
right?
god. Mm.
So I ran out and said to the petrol guy, I was like, "Oh my god, toilet kitte hai?" So go to the toilet.
Toilet.
Toilet kitte hai? Right? And he pointed me. I ran to the toilet. I was like, "Oh, I thought I need to go for a number two." No, it's coming out the other way. So I had to puke, and I was in hopes that it'll come out the other way. But anyway, so then after I finished puking, I did my other stuff, ran to the car. I was like, "Oh, wait a second, I need to go back." So
Oh
anyway,
god.
yeah, it was pretty bad that day. But anyway, it was only one day. We're good. But the point I was trying to make after all that story is because this is the first time we'd been back to India as a married couple, we got back home and all the relatives were there. And I was like, right? I was just like, I look awful. I feel awful. but we'll have a party anyway because you know me, I'm always up for a party. But yeah, they probably were like bloody hell.
You
But yeah,
picked
so
the right one, didn't you?
luckily the next hour was all good. So I went around and said, "I'm okay, everybody, we're good." But anyway, so going back to your point, it is nice because everyone gets together and there's just a nice family feel. Like it was the first time I'd met all of Sook's family, and they were all nice, lovely as well. And so I got on really well with it. Well, I got on really well with everyone. I don't know if everyone got on with me, but it doesn't matter.
You were happy, hey?
I was happy. But anyway, it was good. We enjoyed it, loved it. Thank you very much for everyone in the Punjab. Had a wicked time.
So the second part it would be, why do you think we find it so fun to be with family, and why is it so important that we do stay connected with family back home or wherever they are in the world now? Because they've moved all over. Our family have, they're everywhere.
But I don't think everyone does enjoy going to see family, though. I know I said I do, and that's why I started off. Look, I know everyone doesn't, and I know not everyone does because I've had this conversation with a lot of people. Most people don't want to see anyone. So my family's very lucky. I want to see them, but not everyone does, and that's fine. But one thing I did pick up on after that experience is I do actually we because we are related need to stay in contact a lot more than we do, and we don't talk to everyone nearly as much as we should at all. So that was my
Life just gets
conclusion.
busy.
It's not good enough. Not good enough,
But
unfortunately.
then the question comes, because our kids will ask this, because our parents, whenever they used to go on holiday, they used to go to India. Now, do you think we should carry on doing that? Just keep going to India? Because that doesn't really broaden your horizons, does it? You don't
Yeah,
learn
but
that much.
yeah, but in this generation, we're not just only going to go to India. We're going to go everywhere else. But we need to remember that we should be going back
Why
to
should we be going back? Apart from seeing
our
family.
our history, our culture is in our mother's land, right?
Oh,
Right. So it is important. I mean, look,
but how does that affect me today? She sits here.
well, we're the people listening in to this podcast. We've been very clear. We talk about South Asian culture. If you don't care about South Asian culture, then why are you listening to our podcast? Is the question, firstly. So
but
there
our
is a
kids,
sense.
but our kids probably won't care about it so much. They won't be in the have so many of the nuances that we have had, and I don't think there'll be so many taboo topics that
Well, think.
we are experiencing.
Well, let's move aside from like the fact that we don't just go and see family. India's a massive place. Pakistan's a massive place. Bangladesh is a massive place. There's amazing places, you know, the history, the culture, the nature. We can we always are like, oh, I think about that mountain, I'd love to climb that mountain. Well, I'm pretty sure you'll find mountains. Well, you will find mountains there. So like there's so much to see, and that's one thing. When I do travel next time, I do want to see more of India because there's so much there. Like I'd love to see more.
But it's funny when someone who's out of the South Asian community says that they've been to India, it's like, oh my god, wow! But then
That's
someone South Asian, when they've been to mothers,
Yeah, but you know why that is? Anyone that's not Asian and goes is very cultural, but anyone that is going back that is Asian,
they got nothing
just
better to do.
you're just a freshie, right? That's literally what it is. You're not cultural, but the white person's cultural that went to India. It's like yoga. You have to go to a yoga class here in England, but if a white person's not teaching it, then it's not as good. It's one of those things. It's what we think is acceptable now and what isn't, right?
Like
I don't
saying
know.
yes, no to the Eskimos.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I find that funny as well because, for example, my husband, I said to him, "You should drink haldi dod." So
You've done this line. You've done this line on another podcast. Okay, so how about just generally going on holiday? Why is it important? And I know we're going to be talking about it's going to come down to mental health. I mean, I'll answer the question. We don't need to have this conversation. We're good.
the end.
We're good.
No, but also it builds. For example, when we talk about kids going to school is not the only place that you can get educated. You can get educated learning about other people, the way other people live. They might live in mud houses, huts, as they would say, but that works for them. That's their way of life. And it's their way of life. And we need to realize that we need to come out of our comfort zone and realize this isn't the only way to live. I
Well, the
think
other, yeah. I mean, one thing that happened after coming back from India was like my daughter's birthday was a few days after, and so she was getting presents, and my son was like, "Oh, it's not fair, she's getting presents." And I did say, "Do you remember there were some little kids?" And you, anyone that's travelled, you'll understand what I mean. To India, I mean, not just travel generally, but there's kids that are in poverty in India that were asking for money. Like they were the same age as my kids, asking for money. I'm like, well, you saw them, like, and then he did calm down there because it was a case of, yeah. I was like, I've never got told you to go out and sell a magnet to make money, and that is what they were doing. I'm not taking the mic. Um, so it's also making you realize that there's a whole world out there. Like you said, people living in different ways. You've got to realize how lucky you are, and also it broadens your horizon. So you might want to aspire to live like anyone that you meet. Who knows, right?
That's true. But also, just touching on that, like my kids, they do act like spoiled brats sometimes. And I
I
do,
was going to say sometimes. No, I'm joking. I'm only kidding. Only kidding. Only kidding.
but you do think, you do say to them, oh, there's children or there's people that just haven't got houses, they haven't got this. You need to appreciate. For that 2 seconds, they will appreciate, but then they forget again. But then we're like that as well. We forget that what we have. And we're like, oh, I wish I could have a bigger house. I'm not saying that we shouldn't grow and we shouldn't aspire to things, but I think we forget to appreciate what we've got now
It's
and where
contentment,
we
isn't it?
are
Contentment.
now. We
Yeah.
always, yes, we should always look forward, but let's appreciate what we've got now, where
Mm.
we are now.
Going back to the importance of holidays. Now, when we were younger, we didn't go on tons of holidays. Um, and we would go to India if we were going to go on holiday. And, we enjoyed it, but we didn't see very much. To be fair, our parents haven't though, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But what I was going to say is, as I've grown, I've realized that sometimes it puts a full stop on your life, not a full stop, a comma, not a full stop. You don't want a full stop on your life. And then when you come back, you do feel refreshed, ready to go at it again. And I think that's really important because I've had stages in my life where I'm so stressed, and going on holiday has just, and when I get back, I'm like, okay, that I totally needed that. And I know a lot of people say the same thing.
I do agree. So I'm going to just take it on completely something else because I know I'm going to forget if I don't go this angle. Now, our parents, they always said, and to be honest, in the way that the climate of the world is today, it wouldn't be shocking. They always wanted us to be connected to our, where we originally came from. The reason being, just in case we get sent back. Now, years ago, we would have been like, no way, are we going to get sent back? But looking at the way politics are going and the way things are changing, it wouldn't be a shock if people were chucked out of the country, if we were chucked out of the country. So, do you think for that we should stay connected to our homeland? And
Well, politics is politics. I mean, it's a dirty game, right? As long as,
I mean, that
yeah,
law
I
that
think,
came in as if you, I don't know, something criminal that you do, you'd go back, you'd be sent back to, I don't know, wherever your grandparents came from.
yeah,
Now,
and that's,
our parents used to say this could happen. We were like, no, it couldn't, because we're so westernized. It can't happen. We're always going to stay here.
yeah,
We don't
and
know
who
what
could,
it's like to be in India. Yeah, we don't know. That's because we haven't made ourselves aware how it is to live in India. I think we'd find it really hard to live there, but it could happen.
I think that's a really political sort of thing. And if you want to go down politics, and this ain't the thingy, we were going to talk about holidays. Let's keep it light. Let's keep it light
Okay.
because I've got a lot to say if we were going to go down that route, and I don't think it's this
No,
podcast
but it's just
acknowledges.
something to think about of why we should stay connected as well.
I think anyone that thinks that it's 100% not a possibility.
Reevaluate what things that could happen. All right, let's turn it back to the lighter point.
Yes, I was hoping to go lighter. What else lighter do we want to go?
So what else do you think why do you think it's good for kids to see different things in
The
the
thing is,
world?
don't you think the world is a massive place, man? There's so much going on. There's so much, whatever you enjoy. I mean, I don't know if it's buildings and amazing, and I'm, I like a lot of places, but I'd prefer certain places. And if you don't go to the certain places, you don't realize what you do and don't like either, and not like, but prefer. So I think as you grow, you want more beaches and mountains and more nature.
But that's to do
right?
with how you are in your what phase in your life you are.
Hmm.
Because
Well, no,
you might not want to do that. You might want to go, I don't know, where there's loads of building and no culture and just all modern and stuff like that.
what, like Dubai?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah, but Dubai is wicked. Like, if you
It's a
want to,
nice
do you
country.
know where? Do you know where I want to go? I want to go to Hawaii because it's
Not
the
very Indian.
opposites.
It's not a very Indian thing to do, is it?
I know, but if anyone has any free tickets going to go to Hawaii, I will come with you.
I
I'm
didn't
very
think
kind
there are
like
any
that.
free tickets about, but why there?
Because do you know one thing? Before I didn't realize this, but I give this advice to people that don't have kids: go to the furthest place you can possibly go. Because once you have kids, it's harder.
But people do it.
They do it. I agree. But also you need more time as well. And with the school holidays, you don't, I only went for 2 weeks to India. To be fair, I think it was enough because as soon as we landed home, got home, I was like, home is still home. Home is still home. That's not the country you're in. It's just your home is your home. Right. It was, and it's so different. Like we got back on, so we lived in the Shad, which is like more built up in India, right?
Yes.
So 5 o'clock in the morning, but like there were so many loud horns at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? And then we got back home, and it was early on Sunday. The weather was nice. It was sunny, but it was cold, and it was dead quiet on the roads. And it's so different. It's just it's a different
But then
place.
you don't notice those loud sounds when you're there for a while. It's like if you live near a motorway, or not a motorway, a dual carriageway or something like that. Why would you live near a motorway? But anyway, a dual carriageway. After a while, you just don't notice the sounds because it's
No, I
like,
get it.
when your mum used to have a go at you, just disappear.
Yeah, I
Like,
know because
"Ah,"
yeah, but that's happening now to us, right?
exactly.
Yeah, it's true. And also, it's the mindset of people as well. Because before I'd have been like, oh my God, why did they keep horning the horns? But now I get it because the way of driving is different. The reason they beep their horns, I realized being there, is to say, hey, I'm here, so don't crash into me. So it's like people might not realize that you're there because they're just about like, okay, where they need to get to. Whereas here in England, it's a case of you need to be aware of everything, and it's just different. That's all it is. It's different. No one's right, no one's wrong. It's just different.
Yeah, I like that. Mm.
Thank you.
But that's
That
the
was
whole thing about, yeah, going and looking at different places and understanding, again, what I said before, this isn't the only or the right way to live. There are different ways of living.
the other thing is, one thing like someone said, what do you want to do? Why? What do you enjoy? We just recorded the podcast a little while ago, so that's why I remember. And I'm like, I actually don't know what I enjoy, but I do want to travel. I've always wanted to travel. I want to see different places, but not for too long. So people that go off and go away for like a year. I can't do that. I just can't do that. I mean, 2 weeks is pretty good for me, right? 2 weeks is quite a lot for me. I can't do the backpacking. I'd like to think I could. I could take a backpack and live out of a backpack. I probably could because I'm not actually that high main. I'm pretty low maintenance to be fair, but I couldn't do it. I need to come home.
Do you think, so you have a lot of people that do travel and they had their year out from uni. I remember I was like, oh, I wish I could do that. I've never done it.
They're
But
very cultural.
yeah, the cultural people.
Yes.
Do you think they have less anxiety, depression, mental health
No.
issues?
So we went, me and Suk, when we first got married, we went away. It was one of Suk's friends, and we went to Zimbabwe. It was amazing, like a really amazing place, right? And a lot of the people there had gone traveling. They lived in different places,
Mm.
and that one thing that was so clear was they weren't happy. They were looking for something when they were traveling, and they still hadn't found it. And they weren't like miserable, but they were still looking. And it's like, well, what are
What
you
are you
looking
looking
for?
for?
That's it. So I wouldn't say that people that travel suffer less yeah, anxiety and things like that. It's like you're looking for something. I don't know what. Same thing as all of us, right? What are we looking for? Why do we
And
wake
usually
up each day?
I'm not saying that this is right, but usually that something is within yourself and we're trying to find it out externally.
That's very yeah. A lot of people on the podcast, whichever podcast say it's all about introspection. I just remember how one of our guests said it. That's why I said introspection.
New word. Let's write a vocabulary list.
Yeah, but it is a good point. We're looking for something externally, which is why I suppose we go on holiday, but it's also to give our brain a bit of a rest from that
No, but
usual
it's
routine.
important to be around different things. For example, if you're around nature, you're like, wow, look at
Let's
me.
cut down all the trees and to build some
No,
flats.
not many people. But you think, wow, nature, wow, how could it be so beautiful?
Mm. Why is it always nature that we go towards though?
But that's probably the stage of life that we're at, and that we're thinking that we want calmness and we want to be with nature and relaxed. Whereas
Hmm.
for someone, I don't know, not necessarily, but someone younger, I'm not saying just because we're older, younger might be that I want to be on a racetrack and that's where my peace is and that's where my happiness is.
Who knows? It's just different places, different. What is it? Different. I've forgotten the words. No, I don't know that saying. I'll find the saying anyway. So, where are you going next?
I wanted to take the kids to Singapore because I've heard that's really nice, or Malaysia. Likelihood we won't go there. We'll probably go somewhere like America, to be honest,
Yeah,
because it's just more. I think we'd know it more, and it's more or it is westernized, and
yeah. It'd be cool to do that. A lot of people have said Thailand quite recently, and I've done a bit of research. The November, December are the best times to go Thailand. There we are. Anyway, that's the end of this podcast. I hope you enjoyed our podcast where you could reflect on my journey to India. I'll put some photos out there because I did take some this time.
oh, I
Because
haven't seen any photos.
I know, because Taj said I better take some photos. So I did. So,
That'd be interesting. I'll see them on our social media rather than direct to me.
well, you'd have to meet me on the odd occasion then, maybe. Anyway, that's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, changing_suits, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.